Hi, welcome to the third installment in our summative assessment series. So we've taken a look at Bloom's taxonomy and how to map our course objectives to Bloom's taxonomy, and we've also taken a look at how to write or select test questions. Now let's think about the test itself. We already said that we're going to have 2 hours of instructional time devoted to the midterm and the final exam. So what comprises a good test? Well, some rules of thumb. 1 hour of test time, students can be expected to answer 50 objective questions. Now, don't think that you're going to have to come up with 100 objective questions to fill 2 hours of time. What you're going to want to do, of course, is provide a variety of different types of questions. And so for short answer questions, you could expect students to answer 20 short answer questions in about an hour's worth of time. And the essay questions, you could expect them to write 2 essays, given that they had a week to prepare. And if you're in some type of a quantitative course, then they might be able to answer 12 to 15 computational problems, depending on the complexity of the problems. If you have questions about this, you should definitely talk with your instructional designer. So in this deliverable, let's scroll down to the next page. And I've already pre-populated this with some information from CJ402, which I'm just using as an example. I made all this stuff up. So you're going to try to create a map for all the course objectives, which you will put in the left-hand column. So you see that I have already put some course objectives from CJ402. But then we're also going to indicate what types of questions and how many questions. So in the first course objective, we want students to examine the role of the criminal investigator and his or her role in processing crime scenes. I've decided that I'm going to put in 5 fill-in-the-blank questions, and I'm going to write a micro case study. And from that micro case study, I'm going to have 3 questions at the analyzing level and 3 questions at the evaluating level. Now, the difference in these types of questions, when we ask students to analyze the micro case study, they are comparing and contrasting, they are breaking down and providing an analysis. When we ask them to evaluate the micro case study, they need to apply criteria to indicate what happened in the case study was either correct or incorrect or appropriate or inappropriate. So from my one micro case study, I can get 6 questions, and they will be at both the analyzing and the evaluating level of Bloom's taxonomy. So this is how I'm going through my mapping process. I'm trying to determine if I need to just have some remembering understanding questions, because there are some fundamental terms and concepts that students need to know. So I don't feel bad about putting some remembering understanding level questions in a 400 level exam. But I do want to make sure that I have quite a bit of my material at this analyzing and evaluating level. So this is what I've come up with. Now I'm going to go down here and see, did I do a good job of planning my assessment? Well, I see that in this column I have 30 questions, the 5 fill in the blank here, the 5 multiple choice here, 10 matching, 10 multiple choice, 30 questions. And from my rule of thumb, I know that it takes about half an hour for students to answer 30 questions. Okay, that's not bad. But when we go over here in the analyzing column, I have 34 questions, short answer questions, and analogies. And from my rules of thumb, I can see that's going to require about an hour and a half worth of time. So I'm already up to 2 hours. Then I have my evaluating questions. These are going to be some of the case study questions, and it totals 21 questions, which would take about an hour's worth of time. So 3-hour exam, that's really long. I'm going to need to adjust my expectations here and either ask fewer questions or provide questions in different formats that don't require so much time, because this is really too much for students in a 400 level course. So once I've finished tweaking that, I actually need to provide the questions and the answers, and I need to provide specific instructions for the students. So I'm going to start with the examples of some instructions. Take a look at these examples and notice that the ideal way to set up your test would be to group the types of questions together so that you would have a set of instructions that say for the next 20 multiple choice questions, select the one option that best answers the questions. And then you would group let's say, your short answer questions. For the next 10 short answer questions, explain your answer using 3 to 6 sentences. Be sure to examine each side of the issue equitably. You are not required to cite your sources formally, but you do mention where you obtained the evidence or the data that you're using in your answer. Because again, we want students to realize that what they need to do when they prepare an argument, either for an exam or in real life, they need to back up their sources. And then, of course, the instructions for the essay question. You need to provide specific instructions also about whether this is an open book or a closed book exam and about how long it should take them. So as I said before, after you write the instructions, you're writing the test questions, you're providing the answers so that we can program that into Blackboard, and even for the open-ended questions, we need to provide answer prompts so that all instructors of all the sections of your course will be grading consistently. Okay, that sounds pretty easy, but as you get into it, there might be issues and concerns. So as always, keep in touch with your instructional designer, and good luck with your summative assessments.